on one side as opposed to two, where you know what I'm saying, that two is taking on the brunt of everything. You know, you got to think for the safety, think for the corner. You know, my nose tackle getting blown off the ball, so it's different dynamics. I'm not saying that it's easy. I'm just saying if I had to look at it from the broad, grand scheme of things, well, I will say this: it's easier to play in a system where I don't got to think. I'm just going.
Right.
You know, I'm surrounded by people who gonna make plays. I can count on them to make plays.
I remember when it was me and my cousin who played at Bethune-Cookman at the time, and it was a couple of other dudes from FAM, Bethune. I think it was somebody. I remember somebody being from one of the schools in Georgia. It might have been in Valdosta State. We were down at University of Miami. We were doing 7-on-7, and it was Miami, University of Florida, and Florida State. Okay.
Yeah.
Versus the HBCU squad.
Mm-hmm.
These were the guys that you see on television. Those dudes.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Man, we beat them so bad.
Yeah.
And talk trash with them. First of all, they can't play man to man.
No.
When you jump up on them in the bump, they can't get off the line.
Absolutely.
All they know how to play is cover 2, cover 3, and at that time a little sprinkle of cover 4.
That's it.
Black college, we playing quarter, half.
You know what I'm saying?
We playing man under.
You got to play man.
We playing man under with the linebacker. We playing man.
You got to. You got to be an athlete.
They just used to playing zone. No, we playing man.
Yeah.
Man under.
Yeah.
So when we play man under and then lock up the corners and let the strong safety, he locks onto the tight end and let the safety play free.
That's it.
Safety, you do what you want to do. So safety can lean on one side, the strong side, the weak side, wherever you think you're going with the ball. Man, we picking the ball off. We run. They was getting so frustrated because University of Miami back then was playing cover 2.
Yeah.
You know how bad a black college eats you up on cover 2.
Man, look here. You ain't got to tell me.
And you don't have no pass rush.
You ain't got no pass rush. You don't got nobody to get your quarterback back there looking, having a Coke and a smile.
That's it, bro. I mean, we beat them so bad. I felt bad for them taking that beating because they just believe. But listen, they passed the eyeball test, boy.
Oh, they look good.
Ooh, I talk about listen here. I'm talking about
everything.
Yeah.
Pretty
around and
pretty.
They looking good. They look good. I mean, they can't fight sleep.
Man, look here. Look here. Man, and to your point, we my freshman year, going into my sophomore year, how we went over to the University of Maryland, 7-on-7. Man,
same thing. Hey, listen.
Hey, look here. It got so bad over there because they had their offensive linemen, defensive linemen were out there working out too. So they watching, and this is 2008, 2009, right? And we doing them so dirty that we talking trash to the offensive defensive linemen because we walking up and down the field, you know what I'm saying, picking them apart. So their offensive defensive linemen are literally saying, y'all don't want to put the pads on, dog. Like, man, we playing the drill. Y'all called us over here.
Because y'all thought y'all were going to get some work. Y'all got work.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So I like granted, if we keep it, let's call a spade. We put the pads on, y'all going to beat us in the trenches because y'all have better athletes. Y'all stronger.
I wouldn't even go that far. What happens is they got more depth.
They got more depth, yeah. So
what happens is in the first 15 minutes,
we in there.
But when they rotate
that special teams,
and watch this, that second group of linemen that comes in.
Oh yeah.
We go from 1 to 5. They go from 1 to 1.5.
That's it.
Like I starting 5 in the front on the front line, and they starting 5 on the front line. Oh, it's no problem.
No.
When they start substituting and that beat down coming, and we don't have nobody back up. We don't have a substitute.
Absolutely.
And people don't really realize that's the difference between scholarship offers.
Yeah. Yeah.
They have more scholarship on what they got. They get 60, we get 40, 80, and 60. I don't know what it is now.
Yeah, I don't know what it is now.
Whatever it is now, it's a couple less.
Yeah.
So when you see the difference in the kicking game, we rarely, we did my era, and you notice my era, we spent money on a kicker.
Yeah.
We had Ruben Reeves and Jason DeQueer.
Right.
But we spent money on a kicker, which was very rare back then to spend that money on a kicker at Black College. Full scholarship kicker.
Full scholarship, absolutely.
Full scholarship kicker?
Yeah.
No. But it paid off dividends. Yeah. Because tight games.
Now you talking about momentum now, field position. That man,
it's special team. It's everything.
Man, it's difficult to drive the ball 80 yards. Yeah, I don't think people realize how difficult it is on anybody to take that ball 80 yards.
And let me tell you how, and it's difficult because I can swap in. I got at least 3 tailbacks and at least 2 blocking fullbacks, and I'm rotating. And they the ones running in the plays, and I'm rotating them in. Yep. But the linebackers and the D linemen, they stand out there the whole time.
Once that thing when it get about play 7, play 8, you like, hey, Coach, we might need give me a timeout or something. And
then we start. Then when the linemen start getting tired, the old linemen start getting tired. That's when they start running the 3-step drop, because it's easier to pass block than it is to pass rush.
Yep.
Boy, and the defense start getting tired, and they start.
And then that 5 turned to 15. That 15 turned into 20. That 20 turned into 45.
And you watching for the defense start arguing amongst each other.
Yeah, you get the sign. And look, you can't even get your cup of Gatorade. Go get your don't even get a sip of water yet. But yeah, it's different, man. And I would dare to see the differences in the depth and in the trenches on those levels. Even if you do look at your perennial HBCUs, their depth, their caliber athletes in those areas are different than someone who struggled. So.
Well, let me tell you something. I want to touch on this because I heard you talk about it before we jump into the meat of the discussion. The meat of the discussion is basically what Division I athletes need to do over the summer, and what prospective Division I athletes need to do. Like if you're a high school athlete and you want to play D1 football or become a D1 athlete, what kind of things should you do right now in this particular situation, dealing with the COVID-19 situation, and just as a perspective, if you're a junior, et cetera, some of the things that you need to do. But before we jump into that, because that's the meat of the discussion, you talked about, I'm not trying to Barbara Walters you, okay?
Yeah, you can.
You talked about your dad and the importance of your dad, man. I met your dad when you were at Howard. Man, wonderful dude. And I didn't know he was your coach. Yeah. And one of the people that moved you in the linebacker. But your dad passed away a couple of years ago. Yeah. God rest his soul. Talk about, man, my dad was a Heisman Trophy candidate. My dad used to punt the ball to me, run it back, look it all the way in. And my dad's still living. He had his birthday a few days ago. But talk about your dad, man, and the impact that he had on you, on your athletic career.
My father, oh man, was a all-American dad, man. I knew hard work because that's what I saw. Someone who never stopped, who would give anybody the shirt off his back, and he was always true to himself. And he got that mostly from my grandfather, who, my grandfather would always say, son, if you can find your hands to do anything, learn to do it well. And my father could drop an engine in a car, he could build a house, sheetrock, anything you needed, plumbing. You need to run some electrical wires, sound system, whatever. Sheetrock, anything. Everything. He was the guy to call. Lay a floor, tile, linoleum, siding on the house, shingles. on the roof, and a lot of my work ethic I got from him. I remember, growing up, he introduced me into football. I was his ball boy, going on the sideline, getting ran over. For a long time, a couple of his players would always tease me because I was always on the sideline, but I was so close to the action that they ran a sweep one time, and two players like collided and landed on top of me during the game, and I'm small, so he picked me up, handed me across the fence to my mom, and kept the game going. But I was always in football. No matter, I was born into football because that's what he did, and I was everywhere with. I was in his back pocket from the time I was born until the time that he eventually transitioned. And I don't recall ever having a summer or a spring break or a winter break or any kind of break where we wasn't doing some kind of work. Putting shingles on the house, during the summertime, and then going to 7-on-7, during the winter break, going and remodeling houses, laying floors, putting up lights, doing little small carpentry work, doing plumbing work. That's where I got my work ethic from, because that's what I saw, and I was always around it. And I knew, there's no substitute for hard work. And my father, he was a player's coach. He had a personality like no other. Either you like him or you didn't, and that's just what it was. But he didn't have grievances with a lot of people. When he did, they were well founded, because he just had such a good heart, And I remarked at how many people, said he did for them, and yet we didn't go without. And I don't understand how he had the time to do it. But I understand because he didn't stop. He had, I know, and I believe he knew his time was limited, so he didn't have a lot of time. He couldn't put things off. He was always, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. If something wasn't right, he couldn't sleep. If this didn't happen, that thing would bother him until the early hours of the morning. He'll be up at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning trying to go get it done. I gotta go do this for that person. I gotta go, help this person with that one. I gotta go help this person change the brake shoes. Bring it by the house. I got it. Yeah, you can come to the house. Most of his players stayed over at the house, because that was just, we going to Coach Keth's house. Raising athletes and being there for his athletes and being that father figure. Because in our in our culture, we lack that father figure, especially as men, women too. But most young males need that. They're looking for that father role. Someone who is a man. In order to be a man, you got to see a man, and the closest thing to a man, was my father. Now, was he perfect? No, he wasn't perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but so he was a great man and a great person, and he taught me everything I knew, or everything I know, to this day, just about work ethic, about what it is to be a man, what it is to be a friend, to what true friendship is, and being true to yourself, not slighting yourself in the process. So he was my coach in high school, coached me all through high school. 9th, 10th grade, he was my head coach. 9th, 10th grade year, my 11th, 12th grade year. He was he was a defensive coordinator, assistant head coach, and then I got the scholarship to Howard. I did 1 year at Howard, and then the next year, he moved up to DC. Somehow he found a way to get on the coaching staff at Howard. I lie to you not. Somehow he found a way to get on the coaching staff at Howard, and lasted, 3 head coaches.
Your dad coached you at Howard?
Yeah, well, he wasn't my coach.
He wasn't your coach. No,
yeah. But the coach,
you gotta give you a little space to grow.
Yeah, a little space. Yeah, you know.
Right. But he kept his eye on you. He kept his eye on you.
I don't. There hasn't been a time, and I understand it now, but I didn't understand it then. Why we never separated. There was probably a year max that we were, I guess, separated. And when I say separated, I mean like we wasn't always, because we were always together from the time I was born until, you know, again, like I said, up until he transitioned, always together. And I can,
your dad was everywhere.
Everywhere. And he, man, and I'll try to tell two brief stories just to kind of get, so people have an understanding of like what he was. So he coached at a Columbia Heights educational campus in DC. They had a game on a Friday night. We played FAMU. We had to play FAMU that Saturday in Tallahassee. I believe it was a night game. This man coached his football.
It was a Saturday night game.
Saturday night game. Coached his football team that Friday night. He agreed to drive the Penske Truck. So this is the truck with the equipment. We not checking. We don't have the resources to fly all the equipment, the tape and the video equipment. So he.
So hold on, time out. He was coaching at Howard and the high school?
Yeah. Yeah. So he coached his team that Friday night. Got on the road after the game.
No. Don't forget the part where he had to load the truck.
Got to load the truck. He got to load the Penske truck. Loads the truck. Drives from DC to South Carolina for that Saturday morning. That's the 8-hour trip. 8-hour trip. Got up, slept, I guess maybe 2 or 3 hours, and then drove from South Carolina to Tallahassee in the Penske truck to make sure we had our equipment for that game on a Saturday night. And this is not like a one-time event. He was also a minister.
Wait a minute. And had to set up the equipment.
Set up the video, the headsets, and like that's what he was. So he would.
And you said he was also doing what? He was a minister.
He's a ordained minister as well. So now he's also doing Bible study and being a chaplain, and this is the crazy part. After the game on Saturday night, he drives back to South Carolina so he can attend our home church service, and then drives back up to DC. Goes to work Monday morning. Work the entire week, just to do it all over again.
Coaching on two teams.
Coaching on 2 teams. And that's the kind of man he was. That was kind of like, he didn't have an off switch. There was no, and this is where I find some semblance of understanding what rest and recovery does and being able to disconnect just by watching him. So there are things I've learned from him that he may not even understood at the time. But there's a time and a place for everything. But he was always go. Like I gotta do this, I gotta do that. And that's just, one story. Another story is football always brought us together. And then when I wasn't playing anymore, we didn't have football. But we always talked about owning motorcycles or going to West Coast Customs, getting custom bikes and whatnot, getting the big choppers. So one day, I'm I'm in Logo, working out, doing some training, and he called me like, "Hey man, I'm at the Harley dealership." I'm like, "All right, cool." He's like, "Come out, look at these bikes with me." Like, bro, I'm not getting no bike, so you know what I'm saying, you can, and I don't need another bill. Like, I'm good. So we get there, and we looking at bikes. I'm like, this cool. I'm like, I don't need a bike. So he let me work something out. So and he could talk. He could talk your drawers off. So hey, look here. hey, you have a conversation with you, and next thing you know, you give him your whole checkbook.
Right, everything.
I'm talking about talk, but not just like in a way that was some BS. It was like substance-filled conversation.
Right.
So we end up getting these motorcycles. And my mom called as we signing the paperwork. Listen here, she don't know where we at. None of that. So she calls his phone.
He ain't even told nobody nothing.
Nobody nothing. Call his phone. So she gives he look at the phone and he give it to me. Yeah, what's up, Mom? We talking, boo. And he was like, where y'all at? I was like, I'm just with Pops, we out, And before I could say anything, she like, y'all better not be getting a motorcycle. And I just looked at him, I was like,
that ain't my business.
That ain't my business. So I said, no, we ain't doing that. So we signed the paperwork, came home with the motorcycles, man. And, it was another way for us to bond, and I guess to get everything out that we always wanted to do. We had football, I was able to, play in the NFL, which was his dream, and it became my dream. He was so proud of me for doing that. I remember going to the NFL Combine. I came home with the gear that they gave us, and I just gave it to him, and he would wear it.
Anytime.
He would wear it like it was his. So,
hey, it was.
You know what I'm saying? I mean,
it was his.
Yeah. So like, he was everything to me, man. Solid individual. In his transition, it made a lot of things clear for me. Just as a man, in general, it put a lot of things into perspective. What I needed to do, how I needed to move. Everything that I needed, I had already learned. For the most part, and how I needed to move. I needed to govern myself accordingly. A lot of universal truths, reveal themselves in this transition.
Right, and you understood why he spent all that time with you, man.
It made perfect sense, man. It made so much sense and gave me so much peace, knowing that my purview, man, and looking at you and your dad, man, y'all was like two brothers, man. And that's how we were, man. Like it was no shortage on. He was my father, but he also was my friend, like my best friend. Best friend.
That would tighten you up too.
Yeah, exactly. That would keep it real with me, know. And that's what you need, though. You need somebody that gonna keep it real with you no matter what.
Right.
But always have your best interest at heart.
They pull you out like my old man said, "Hey man, God is not pleased with that behavior."
Exactly.
That's all he said. He don't get it.
You know deeper than that.
You don't get it all that.
Dad,
I don't know what I'm gonna do. What did God say?
What did God say?
Pray on it.
Did you pray about it?
No, I ain't pray about it. Okay, then. And they just walk off.
And then walk off and leave there. You like, oh, you ain't gonna help me? You good? I just did. Just did
help you. Man, I tell you what, your old man sound like mine. My dad never missed a game.
No.
Bro, I'm talking about, when I think about it now that I got, you know, as we say, I got 2 children.
Yeah.
And he didn't miss nothing.
Nothing.
Only one thing that they missed because they didn't know what was going on. I won the spelling bee in 2nd grade.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't no paper sent home or nothing. We just had the spelling bee that day. That's the only thing that he missed.
Yeah, because he didn't know about it.
Bro, I'm playing in South Carolina, man. He's there.
Yeah. He never missed a game. Any of my college games. I mean, when he was on the staff, but with that year, he wasn't. He was at every game. Every game. My
dad, he did not go to the Circle City Classic because we played on ESPN. Because you know how it is. When you're a dad, you also want to be able to.
You want to be, exactly.
Remote.
Exactly.
Like, look at right, and look at your son playing on ESPN. So we played on ESPN a few times. He had that particular privilege. But one of the best things, man, was I played in the Black College All-Star game.
Yeah.
To have my parents see me playing they watched me on TV to play in an All-Star game. And my parents, man, looking up in the stands and seeing my parents at the Olympics.
Yeah.
Something else. Your dad went to the NFL game, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So they came up while I was in Cleveland, man, and see him there and take that picture to come to practice, man, to come to the facility. I remember
take that picture. The picture with you in the uniform and everything.
You best believe it. I remember my recruiting visit to Howard. I got on the plane. They drove up. he drove like that's just how he was. Like it was for him too.
Right? No, it was. And let me tell you, you said something important, and I tell parents this all the time. They said, "Well, my kids need to make a decision. Might need to be my kids' dream." I said, "Listen, your kids don't have no dreams in the beginning. You live vicariously through your kids for a reason.
For a reason.
Like you have to push your kids to something,
and let them figure it out.
And as you push them to the thing, push them so that they learn all the tangibles and intangibles of that thing that can also relate to getting other things.
Exactly, because it's all interdependent, man.
Like all the books that we done read, we read the books where they talk about the parents who, when the kid got popped out the womb, they teaching them how to play chess.
How to play chess.
They ain't asked them what they want to play.
They setting the tone for early.
They didn't ask them, do they like chess?
Man,
I ain't asked you if you like the grocery in the refrigerator. I see you eating it though.
And I see you tearing it up.
And you're gonna tear up this chess, and I'm gonna teach you chess. They taught all their kids to be what? World champions in chess, or world class chess masters.
Yep.
That is what you do. It's not that you're trying to push your kid to live vicariously through your kid. It's that you, as a parent, get to make the decision of what resources are going to be available to your child, because it's your child.
Yeah.
They say, yeah, but it's their life. Yeah, it's their life when they can live it.
Absolutely.
But if I leave you where you are at 2 months, you can't live your life.
Live. Exactly.
You live in my life, because I gotta pull some of my life out to make sure that you have one.
Absolutely.
So until you can live it on your own, you're gonna live.
We're gonna live how we live.
We're gonna live how we got to live. Right.
You know, and it's about that exposure too. You know, if you're not exposed to it, you don't know.
You don't know no better.
You know what I'm saying? You don't know no better.
You don't know no better.
And while you can't make a decision for your child, the best thing you can do is expose them to it and let them make that decision, and then you support them in that decision. And he was that. He exposed me to it. I chose it. I made the choice. And then once you make that choice, there's no halfway.
Right. Well, Coach Pough, give me we're gonna take a pause here for a moment. I'm gonna refill my coffee, and then we're gonna get on with the second part of the interview.
Right on.
So, all right. So, Coach Pough, you talked about a lot of things, man. You talked about we talked about HBCUs, your dad's influence.